Hello, everybody. This is Becky here again at Aunt Beck's Creations. And we're going to start I guess we kind of started when we made the leaves together. And if you missed that video, I've put a link to it in the box below. So if you want to go back and see how I created my leaves, I have done the doodling on them. And I guess I'll show those real quick. You'll see them again when we start putting them down. So I doodled on them. So, and I figure everybody's leaves will be different because your shape may be different than what I did. You may have done multiple sizes of leaves. You may have doodled differently than I did. And Teresa's idea of putting things that you're thankful for on the leaves sounds great. But what I'm going to do is, instead of, because I love my leaves so much, I think I'm going to just create a list that contains the 23, because I have 23 leaves. And I'm just going to create a list of things I'm thankful for and put it on my inside cover of my book. So today we're going to construct the cover. And so I'm going to tell you how to get going on that. And I asked everybody to bring some, just chipboard of some sort. A recycled cereal box would work, or, anything like that. And then I've got brown paper that I just flattened out from the Amazon package that came in once. And I'm just going to use this to cover my covers, and then we'll glue the leaves down. And basically all we're going to focus on today is prepping the cardboard to make it into a journal that we will do that slip knot binding for at the end. So I have 2 pieces of chipboard here for the covers. And I'm doing that because they turned out to be slightly thicker than the other 3. So I've got 3 that are thinner, and this is just a little tiny bit thicker. So I'm going to show you how to space out your holes and stuff real quick, and I'll show you all that. So the sheets are 5 inches by 7 inches, okay? Then you're going to, and I'm just going to work this through with you guys. And then I just made a tiny mark at the top at the 1/4 inch. And then I made a tiny mark at the bottom at the 1/4 inch. And then I drew a line. So that's what you see here is a 1/4 inch line. Then on this side, on the longer side, I put a mark at 1 inch. There's a tiny little mark right there. And then 3.5 inches and 6 inches. And then when I did my hole punches, I just made it so that I did my best to center it on the hole. But then I went so the back of it is just in over the 1/4 inch line. So I have a 1/4 inch of material here for the slip knot binding to have some tooth to it. So over time it won't pull through. So hi to Linda, Teresa, and Barbara Clark. And once I got this cover made, I didn't have to measure anything else again. I would just take the next sheet and I'd lay this one on top, and then just make sure the sides are even, and then just make my holes with my pencil. And then I'll take the hole punch and line it up. All right, so then these will go in between the covers. And the holes match up. So you only have to do the spacing on one of your pieces, because once you've punched the holes in that one, you can just kind of use it as your guide or your pattern. So I'm going to put some of this stuff away now, so I don't have a huge mountain. So now I want you to just set the ones that are a little thinner, or set 3 of them aside. If your cardboard is all the same size, these are going to be our pages, and we'll work on these another time. Okay, I'm going to set those aside. When I was cutting these out, I had these cool offcuts, and look, won't those make great bookmarks? So we'll have some bookmark activity in the future. So now what I want you to do is, you've got your book is like this. I want you to open it, and when you lay it down here, I want it to be hole to hole. And we're going to just tape these together with painter's tape, and we're going to decorate the whole outside, I think. Let me think on that a minute. No, we won't do the taping now. We'll do that after we've put the brown paper on. So ignore that. My brain was working faster than it should have been, in the wrong direction. So we're going to leave these apart for right now. Once we get our brown paper on here, then we're going to butt them up together like so. And we'll just put a little painter's tape, and then we'll turn it to the side that's going to be on the outside of our book. And then we'll put our leaves on our cover, because then, like, say we've got our brown paper on it already, our leaves can overlap a bit. You'll see what I mean when we get here. And I was going to do 5 leaves like so. And then see how this one will be kind of in between. And then we'll just use an X-Acto to just kind of slice the leaves apart. But we'll get to that, Becky. Quit crossing that bridge before you get to it. But sometimes I like to know where a project is heading so I can think about it more. So we're going to just cover these with the brown paper. And it doesn't have to be completely smooth. Most oftentimes when we get this paper, it's not smooth. And that's okay. See, I'm just going to cut along this fold here. Actually, I think this pulls apart. Yeah, it's perforated. It's like it was made for this project. And we're not going to need all this paper. This is like free art supplies, you know, when you get a package in and it's got a bunch of that brown paper. That's like bonus. All right, so I need enough. I want to cover this and wrap it to the back. So I don't need a ton. So I'm just going to cut some of this away here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because, you know, we'll put a piece of paper over on the inside when we get to it. I just want to focus on these covers today. So let me get it. There's a piece for this one. And then I'll need a piece for this one. If I put this like it's my book and I open it up like this, so the brown paper needs to be like that. And I've got my yes paste, And I put a plastic bag on it. Supposedly it should open pretty good. And thank you to JL. She sent this to me because I was running out. And my granddaughter, Kitty Cat, would like to come in from the... But she's been in all day. She can just wait. And I'm just going to spread this yes paste. It's actually better to spread this out thinner and not leave it so chunky. I love yes paste. And it stays tacky for up to 15 minutes. So you have time to maneuver stuff if you need to. It's actually a product that's made for bookbinding. All right, so I'm just going to plop this down like so. We'll set that one aside and let it set up good. And I'll go ahead and spread this one here. I can always flip it because the measurements are such that the holes will still measure up. It'll be fine. So you don't really need a whole lot of this. You just need to get good coverage. Because I'm spreading this out pretty thin. Scott used to sell leatherette when he was doing a lot of antique radio shows, because there's some radios that are covered in leatherette. And we still have some of that stock. And I don't know, but I told him, I said, you know, there's some crafty ladies out there that probably wouldn't mind, you know, buying like just a half a yard of it to do some books with. So I'll talk with him and we might have it, you know, offered up. It's just a little side sale. Nothing making any major money with it. And the postage is what gets me. And I'm just going to plot this down. And you'll notice I'm not real worried about this being perfectly straight because I will be covering my internal cover. And I am going to do something real quick before I start turning the paper over. I think I'm going to take one of my other pages and I'm just going to line this up with my edges. Actually, I could kind of fold this back just so I have this on here. And lay that down and just go ahead and mark my holes again with pencil, just in case I get it too crazy. And now I'm going to glue this down. Okay. I got a little heavy, a little too far with this, but that'll be all right. This is such thin paper, I'm not going to worry about cutting the corners even. I might take some of this and slide it in here to glue that down. Add a little bit of glue. How about you? Hi, Heather. You're just hanging in the background today. Okie day. All right, so there's that one. And I went over a little far, so I've got some glue there. And I'm just going to get a wet one and wipe it up real quick. Because the Yes paste is water soluble. So I can just use this here and clean this up real quick. This is just a Yardley washcloth thing. That'll get enough of that sticky off that I don't have to worry about it. All right. Set that one aside. And now I will do the same thing on this one and try not to be so heavy-handed with the glue again. Get my little thingamabob back over here. I can hold this up to the window and see through it and know that the holes are lined up. What did I do with that pencil? Probably put it back, or it's under that other cardboard. So I'm just marking these so I kind of know where to punch my holes back out. All right, so we need to put some here. I know Ann will be glad to have her room done. I remember how I thought it was never going to end. And every time they give you a time that it's going to be done, double it. Because experience says they're only guesstimating and they have no control over supply chain or any of that business. I'm just putting a little bit of glue on these tabs so that it'll lay down. And I'm just being a messy crafter today. So none of this is perfect. Don't tell me I shouldn't show mistakes because we all make them. And there's that and that and that. Put a little glue on here. I've been working on my sister-in-law's top today. And I did a little bit of sewing along with Katinka at the seamstress at the cottage. And I had a lot of fun hanging with her for about an hour. And she was giving me hints on how to get more enjoyment and use my serger more. And I was telling her how disgusted I am with knits, that every time I try, it's a disaster. And then after we signed off, I got to thinking, no, I have one dress that turned out really well. And it was because it was made out of a stable knit. It wasn't very stretchy. So I can sew knits. I just can't sew the real stretchy ones very good yet. I keep telling myself yet, because if I keep trying, I will give myself more practice. And it's not that you don't know how to do something. It's that you don't know how to do it yet. I think I'll use the Yes paste for the leaves too. So let's go ahead and punch our holes back in this through the paper. And I don't know how this is going to punch through this thin paper, but we'll see. Uh-oh. There's 1, 2, 3. Now, if you wanted to add some other browns to your covers or do some kind of painting on your covers, you could. This is what my 2 covers look like right now. And the whole concept of these leaves, when I was watching the lady or person that was doing this, they did a design around it. So they turned it into like a mandala. They did a dark outline, and then they did swirls in the background, and then they did some white dot work. So I thought we'd just kind of copy the idea, and we're just doing it as a book. And like I said, I want to put this together now, and I'm just going to put 2 small pieces of painter's tape on here that I've stuck on my arm. You know, you do it on your arm, and that removes some of the adhesive. And I'm just going to do just like this. That way it'll be easier to get apart. And then I'm just going to flip the whole thing, and we're going to glue our leaves down now. And then we can take an X-Acto and just kind of cut down this center through whatever leaves get involved in the middle. I have my old handy dandy either AARP. Yeah, this was an AARP volume. And I'm going to start putting these down kind of in a mandala, starting with 5 leaves. So just randomly, here's my leaves I made. And 1, 2, 3, trying to get 5 different ones. 4 and 5. All right, so let's put these on here. Oh man, need my head examined. Got way too much that time. Oh, wrong way. Kind of starting on those middle holes there. All right. Uh-oh. So I don't know who all's planning to play along or not. It's up to you if you want to play along. I don't know how many of my leaves I'll get on the cover. See, why does that feel so dry? I thought I got more on it. like the brown paper pulled. Is that one even sticking? Yeah, that one's sticking down. Okay. Just be patient, Becky. It'll do. Scott works with a man and that he's gotten kind of close to. They're friends at work, and he said, "Can I take a cinnamon roll to my friend?" And I'm like, "Yes, of course you can take a cinnamon roll." Because that guy's always telling Scott, "I wish I had a wife to take care of me and cook for me." These are kind of close in color family, but I'm just going to go with it. And see, I covered my hole, so I'll have to punch that back out. And I don't know why that's pulling up. It's like it doesn't like the brown paper. I thought it's paper. Look at that. Maybe it's because it's got stuff on the back of it. I don't think I've ever had something not stick with this stuff. Oh, come on, stick down. Hi, Josie. Hi, Carol. I'm on here making a sticky, gluey mess. If you don't want to make a 5x7 journal, you can make it any size you want. Bigger, smaller. I'm about to give up on this Yes paste and switch to matte medium because this just doesn't seem to want to stick to this brown paper. Let me get some matte medium. Give me just a second. I was going to get a small paper plate, but the paper plates are in the buffet table, which has got all of the remaining flooring sitting in front of it. So that ain't happening. So I don't think I've ever had a problem with the Yes paste not sticking. All right. I've got matte medium here. And I'll pour some of this out on the page so I'm not contaminating my whole thing. Maybe. I got to remember my dentist is doing a food drive. I don't know why that popped in my head just then, but ignore me. It's okay. Let's see. Let's look for a crummy brush because I think I threw my old brush out. No, maybe I did. This brush is hard as a rock, but we'll give it a try. We'll give it a go and just see if it'll work. be spreading glue everywhere too. Okay, let's try again. I'm going to work out the next row. I thought we'd put one in between here. There might not be enough space on here to get all my leaves on, but we'll go as far as we can. I guess I could overlap them some. What do you think? Overlap them maybe? What do you guys think? Should we overlap them? Or should I do a layer out? Some here. And then maybe come back and overlap in between them. Set 5 aside. No. Is that 5 I need? Yeah, 5. I set 5 aside and came back and added them last on the middle. And then we could build out around it. Let's do that. I'm going to choose 5 and set them aside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll put those back in the dish. We'll use those last. And then all these others we're just going to put on here until we use them up. Let's see here. And then I got this. This one's cool though. We should put that one back for the middle. So where do I want to go with this? All right, I'm just going to set them on here the best way I can to fill in the space, I think. This one needs to switch with somebody so I don't have 2 of those together. Hi, JL. If I put these in closer, I could put this in here and here. That way when I overlap them, I'm still just kind of, bear with me, I'm just kind of playing with this so I can get the most use out of my leaves as I can. And then I'll put those last 5 on it, and then maybe we could do some of the other doodling that they did. All right, I'm going to push these out, and I'm going to put 1 in between each of these other ones, but a little bit closer all the way around, and then I will do my overlapping and see what I've got left. I don't know what luck we'll have with this, but I'm just going to start popping it down because I keep overthinking it. And I think I need to just let the flowers do what they want to do. The petals. Work my way around here. Oops, almost put the glue on the wrong side of that one. That would have disappointed me really badly. Okay. My niece, who's the choral director at a middle school, she put a call out for newspapers and vests because apparently they're doing something with Newsies in it. And I don't have, because I don't get the newspaper anymore. You know, things like magazines and newspapers, I think they're a dying breed. Let's see here. My mother-in-law is always wanting me to read the paper. And I'm like, I see so much news. I get it spewed to me 24/7 that I don't need a newspaper. Okay, she says, okay. All right, now we're going to go around again. Add some more leaves. And I'm just painting this on the backs of the leaves and getting it all over my hands, which we know that'll make for a special cleanup, won't it? Let's just stick it down, Becky, anywhere. We're just doing this to have fun. Okay, stick this one here. Can y'all believe it's Wednesday already? This week is just, and then this morning I started sewing and I looked up and I was like, oh my gosh, Anne's been on a while. So I said, oh, I got to get on because I was watching the closer and I was sewing along, watching the closer. I put something on that I can watch and be interested in, but not interested in, you know, that because I've seen them before. So just lost all track of time. Okay. They're just painty paper and doodles, Linda. But thank you. We could have done this with any shape, you know. You could have done it with stars. You could have done it with anything. And if you've got a stencil that you can just trace your shapes out, you could do it with anything. I have stars and all kinds of stuff in my folder over there, but I didn't think about doing that till just now because I was going by the idea I saw on, you know, a reel. So thank you, real person that put that out there. And let's see here. And I'll just cut away the pieces that hang over the side. No point in getting a bunch of matte medium up on this one because I'm going to be cutting a bunch of it off. I could cut that off and use it somewhere else. Maybe add it on the side, but I'm not going to. This one I went crazy with the stuff, so it's on the end. I guess I could wrap it to the inside, but I don't really want to do that. Okay, so now we got our 5 to put back in the middle. And then I'll have to chat with you a minute so we can let this set up a little bit before I start trying to cut into it. So if we overlap these. Remember, I'm overlapping my first 5 that I put down. So I can utilize all of mine on the front. On the covers, I mean, not front, it's the front and the back. Whoops. It's all good. And I was just going to do just the cover today because I need more time to think about what we all do on the next page. And I think Katinka's going to start doing her little hour of sewing in the mornings. So I'll be doing that until Craft and Chat starts in the morning. And we got one left here. Oh, and I'm glad this one's going to end up on my cover because this was one of my favorite of my leaves. So it's kind of like a mandala. I've got all of this left. I'm just going to cover the whole things with matte medium. This might take a minute or two to dry up. And I will have to repunch my holes. But the good news is I've already punched them out again, so that won't be too hard to do. It might be hard to cut through that glue, and hopefully I can cut through it. Or I might do it real quick and then clean my X-Acto knife off. There's something on this one here that is running, but it'll be all right. Okay. Grab my X-Acto because I should really let this dry. But there we are. Oh, you demon. I should let it dry. I think I'll be able to get it apart. I'm going to let it dry some. I say that as I sit here and mess with it. All right, I'm going to leave it alone. All right, so this is going to be my cover. And I'll cut my 2 halves back apart and punch my holes. And then what I was going to do is once it's all dry, I'm just going to outline around about an 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch away from the petal edges and just go around it with a black paint pen. And then anything that's beyond the black mark, I'll do some little tiny swirls in maybe gold with a gel pen. So that was my idea for our covers. And that's all I was going to do today. So I hope y'all don't mind a little bit shorter lives from me. I'm good for about an hour. And it's been 45 minutes. So any questions? Did I miss anything? Doesn't look like the chat has moved in some time. But I do hope there are some folks wanting to play along. And we will get together next Wednesday at the 1:30. And we'll do our inside covers, front and back. And on the inside cover, I want you to get a list of however many leaves you used on the front of your journal. Try to come up with that many things that you're thankful for in your life, because this is going to be our thankfulness journal. If you don't want to do the things you're thankful for, look up some thankful quotes. All right. And I'll see you guys, of course, on Monday mornings. We do something on Monday mornings always. And then I have been popping up each morning to do something. And I've kind of gotten in the habit. So I may pop on in the morning at about 6:30 my time, which is really early for most of you. All right. So take care, guys. And I'll see you in the next stream.